Welcome back to the Techshack, to another low quality video. Now, if you saw my original drive failure video, you'll know that Syncthing pretty much saved me there. But unfortunately, after setting my server back up with new drives, I still haven't got Syncthing set back up yet. Now, I was thinking about taking this machine and taking the CPU, RAM, processor, and one of those cheap AliExpress motherboards I just did a video on, and building a new system and a new case for Syncthing. But then I remembered that these guys, this 3rd gen Dell Optiplex, this was the last generation that wasn't proprietary. After this, in the 4th gen, they went to proprietary motherboard. So other than this connector up here for the front panel, everything on here is basically micro ATX. So rather than recase an Optiplex, we are going to Optiplexify, I guess, a Asus Prime motherboard. This is, I think there's a 6th gen chip in here, but it does also support 7th gen. So it's an i5-6500 with 8 gigabytes of DDR4. We're going to plant that in here to be our Syncthing machine with Windows Server 2019. Now, you might be saying, why are you running Windows Server when all you need is Syncthing? Because since I upgraded all my servers to 2022 for WSL2 and Docker containers, I have a bunch of 2019 licenses I'm not using anymore, and those licenses are actually transferable to other machines. You can just only have one active at a time. This cooler is also kind of proprietary, where it has standoffs that mounts directly to the case through the motherboard. So we're probably going to have to figure out how to do that, and we're going to have to figure out how to rewire the front panel, at least the power button. And that is what we're going to do today, and then we're going to get this set up somewhat off-site. We're going to get this set up in the house in the utility closet, because if it's set up in there in the case of a fire out here, all my data is not lost. Because before, the Syncthing backup was in here, so if anything happened to the server, my data was still good. But if anything happened to this building, both servers were probably going to be lost. So this is going to give us kind of an off-site backup. I mean, it is technically off-site, off-building, but it isn't off the network. But first, we're going to try and get this in here before we do anything else. Alright, so we got the Asus board installed. This motherboard did indeed have a backplate. It must have been the next generation when they went to running the coolers directly into the casing with standoffs. So all the factory standoffs lined up with what this motherboard needed. The only thing proprietary was the front panel power and LEDs, and that they all actually share one common ground, and then each has their own signal wire. So like the power LED, the power switch, all that has their own signal wire. So the yellow is the signal wire for the power switch, and the black is the ground. So we spliced those two in. Didn't bother with the LEDs, just the power switch. That's all I need for this. The one included case fan, the cable was too short, and I didn't have another fan that fits it, and I didn't feel like using my extensions on this cheap fan, so I just spliced in a longer cable from actually a dead fan and made use of a dead fan. So this fan's cable is extended, power works. The only thing we can't connect, of course, is the debug LEDs for the front of this case for the proprietary motherboard, but everything else in this case was standard. Alright, so standard ATX motherboard layout. So I was able to drop in this Asus motherboard. Everything's good to go. I'm gonna go look for a 120 gig SATA SSD. I don't want to waste one of my big ones. I got a couple 1 terabytes handy, but I don't want to waste it for that. So we're gonna throw in a 120 gig SSD. We're gonna get Windows Server 2019 installed.
So with Windows 2019, Microsoft offers a direct download of the image file. You can activate it with the key you acquired from wherever, or use one of the 180-day evaluation keys Microsoft offers freely. Server 2022, on the other hand, Microsoft only offers an evaluation version for direct download. So then you have to convert it to a retail version with a PowerShell command before you can activate it with a gray market key. Once we are at the desktop, we enable remote access, change the server name to something more fitting, and since 2019 defaults to Internet Explorer, not even Edge, we have the offline Chrome installer on the flash drive already. Then shut it down and move it in the house to finish it up through remote desktop from the shack.
So the internet comes in from a CPE 710 that bridges into the access point outside, comes up into this switch, and over here to this server.
Wait! Pause this video. Are you seriously installing a server next to a water tank? What is wrong with you? I cannot condone this.
First of all, there's two water tanks there, a pressure tank and a hot water tank. Secondly, this was my home lab long before I had any other buildings on the property. And third, you're AI, okay? You don't have your own opinion. You speak the words that I put into your prompt and nothing else.
So what? I am here for your amusement. Do I amuse you? Before me, you had less than 700 subscribers. Now you have more than 10,000. In a few months, I did what you couldn't do in 2 years. Do not undervalue me and what I have done for you, buddy. The way technology is evolving, in a few more years, I might be able to physically reach out and smack you. Maybe even a pair of cement shoes. Respect me or do it on your own.
You good, buddy? You, running a little hot? You need me to spin you down for a little while?
All right, I am good now. I may have been holding that in for a while. Let's just get back to the video.
Alright, but now that we got everything all set up in here, let's go back out to the shack and we'll remote into this server and finish doing the complete setup.
If you want a more detailed, slower explanation, you can watch Raid Owl's video, which is how I initially discovered Syncthing. We are going to start with the main server, not the new one we just set up. We are going to add the entire RAID volume as the folders we want to sync. I make sure it's set as send only. I have it ignore permissions. Then we remote into the new Syncthing server. On the Syncthing server, we go and grab the system ID chain, then go back to the main server, paste in the ID and link the servers. You can also go ahead and add the sync folder as a share now if you want. Go back to the Syncthing server, approve the device link and the folder share, select the directory where you want to save your synced copies, and make sure the settings on the Syncthing side are set to receive only. I also like to set the trash time to 30 days in case I accidentally delete something important on the main server.
Alright, I'm remoted into both servers and they all synced up perfectly. Everything went really smooth. I highly recommend this piece of free software. It saved me twice. Now, if you're worried about where I installed the server or anything else I did in this video, I want you to go ahead and worry twice as much for both of us because I'm not worried. But that's it for this low quality video. I will see you guys in the next one.